wheat germ, and wheat germ once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm back with whole grain of the day, the one and only wheat germ. So, maybe you've eaten it, maybe you liked it, maybe you made it for someone else. Whatever the case may be, please listen on why, because we're about to dive into the wonderful world of wheat germ. All right, first up, just a little bit of background information. First up, wheat germ is the small portion of the wheat kernel. It's also the embryo of the wheat plant. So, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a small portion of the wheat kernel, and ultimately it's the embryo of the wheat plant. Interesting. Now, normally I give you the fun facts, right? But because we're talking about wheat germ, I decided to give you the not so fun facts. All right, so here we go. Although wheat germ is rich in many essential vitamins and minerals, it may not make a make a beneficial dietary addition for everyone. Now, here's the reason. Those with a gluten sensitivity or wheat allergy, or those who suffer from celiac disease, should steer clear as it may trigger an adverse reaction. So in other words, my dear students, the not so fun fact about wheat germ is that it contains gluten. Oh, the dreaded protein. So, like I said earlier, I normally give you the fun facts, but I just wanted to let you know that the not so fun fact about wheat germ is that it contains gluten. So if you suffer from any type of gluten intolerance, then please stay away. All right. Now, I just gave you the not so fun facts, so now I also want to give you a word of caution. The wheat kernel that contains the wheat germ is stripped away during the refining process that converts whole wheat grains into white flour. Food manufacturers do this because the fat in the wheat kernel can become rancid and shorten the shelf life of products. This means that, unless specified as 100% whole wheat, the majority of wheat products you typically consume, such as breads, baked goods, cereals, and pastas, actually lack the nutrient-rich goodness found in wheat germ. With the Industrial Revolution came the introduction of the roller mill, a new invention that helps speed up the production of white flour by removing the germ and bran, leaving behind little besides empty carbohydrates and calories. That's why so much of the wheat today contributes to belly fat. So, let's sum that up. What they're simply saying is that due to the refining process, the majority of the fiber, protein, and phytonutrients have been removed. So when we consume white flour as opposed to 100% wheat flour, then we're putting a bunch of empty calories into our bodies. When we put in those empty calories, ultimately, we develop belly fat. So what does that mean? If you are interested in maybe getting a six-pack, maybe you have a waist that measures plus 40 inches, it's very simple. Reduce the amount of white flour in your diet. How do you reduce that? Well, it's very simple. Just look at the products that are made with white flour, such as all breads, all baked goods, meaning lots of desserts, all types of cold cereals, right? And also pasta, right? So if you can, in some way, shape, or form, reduce those food items in your diet, guess what? Your belly fat will go away. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We now know exactly how to lose our belly fat. All right, now it's time to dive into the 520 rule. Ladies and gentlemen, the 520 rule is all about food labels. Basically, it's a guide. It's a guide that lets us know whether or not a food item is a good source or not a good source of any particular nutrient. Now, the way in which we talk about the 520 rule is to talk about the percent daily value, abbreviated percent DV, right? So let's take a look at our sample food label. Now, if you notice, the percent daily value, the column, is highlighted in, shall we say, lavender. Now, we have some nutrients that are highlighted in yellow, such as total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Now, the reason why these nutrients are highlighted in yellow, well, is a bit of caution. Unfortunately, these nutrients do a really good job at promoting disease, such as heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and also cancer. So when it comes to the 520 rule, you definitely want to make sure that the percent daily value is on the lower end of the spectrum. Now, we have other nutrients that are highlighted in a light blue, such as dietary fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron, right? Now, the reason why these nutrients are highlighted in blue is because these nutrients do a really good job at promoting health, not disease. So when you look at these nutrients, you always want to make sure that the percent daily value is on the higher end of the spectrum. So I understand that I've used the terms lower end of the spectrum and higher end of the spectrum, but now let's get a little more specific, shall we? If a food item offers anywhere from 0% to 9% DV of any particular nutrient, then the food item is not a good source of that nutrient. If it offers 10% to 19% DV, then it is considered a good source of that particular nutrient. And lastly, if the food item offers 20% DV or greater, then the food item is considered an excellent source of that particular nutrient. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're now fully aware of the 520 rule. All right, so now that we know all about the 520 rule, we can now dive into the nutrition facts, shall we? So for today's lecture, we're going to simply say that a serving of wheat germ is equivalent to only a single ounce, which, by the way, is equivalent to about 28 grams. Now, this ounce of wheat germ is going to provide us with 101 calories, 14.5 grams of carbs, 6.5 grams of protein. What? Yes, guys, only a single ounce of wheat germ is going to provide you with 6.5 grams of protein. Amazing. Also, 2.7 grams of fat and 3.7 grams of fiber, which, by the way, does the body good. Now, let's dive into the vitamin and mineral contents. First up is manganese, coming in at a whopping 186% DV. Now, notice that it is above 100%, so what that simply means is that a single ounce of wheat germ is going to provide the body with more than enough, okay, of what it actually needs in a single day. Next up is thiamine, coming in at 35%, so it is an excellent source of thiamine. Selenium coming in at 32%, excellent source. Phosphorus coming in at 24%, excellent source. Then we have zinc coming in at 23%, excellent source. Folate, 20%, just made the cut, so yes, wheat germ is an excellent source of folate. Then we have vitamin B6 coming in at 18%. It just missed the cut, but because it's not an excellent source, it technically is a good source. Then we have magnesium coming in at 17%, good source. Copper, 11%, good source. Niacin, 10%, it made the cut at being a good source. Iron, made the cut at 10% DV, right? Then we have riboflavin coming in at 8%. Now, because it is less than 10%, meaning between 0 and 9%, then it is not a good source of riboflavin. And then we have potassium coming in at only 7%, not a good source. And lastly, we have pantothenic acid, which, by the way, is one of our B complex vitamins, comes in at only 6%, so it is not a good source of pantothenic acid. So there we have it, guys, the nutrition facts of wheat germ. All right, Now that we know the nutrition facts, we can now talk about the health benefits. But before we dive into the health benefits, Coach D wants to say this, that if you're looking to promote health, or if you're simply trying to promote, or shall I say become healthy, you gotta cause it. Now, on the flip side, if you're diseased, guess what? You cause that too. So in saying that, I simply want to very quickly talk to you about the principle of cause and effect, which basically states that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. There is no such thing as luck or chance. In other words, everything happens for a reason. So guess what, guys? If you're looking to become healthier, then you have to create it. You have to make it happen. And in order to make that happen, you have to put the good stuff in and leave out the bad stuff. So guess what? Whenever you consume wheat germ, you put all of those nutrients that we just went over in the previous slide into your body. Now, once those nutrients get inside of you, look at what happens. It's high in antioxidants, which basically means it's going to help reduce the likelihood of you developing cancer, and antioxidants also help slow down the aging process. So if you want to look young forever, then it's simple. Eat more wheat germ. Also, wheat germ promotes regularity. That's what the fiber does. Remember, guys, Coach D calls fiber nature's plumber. It keeps your tubes clean. Which tubes are we talking about? We're talking about your arteries and we're talking about your colon. Also, it stabilizes your blood sugar. Now, that's great news for anyone who's diabetic or pre-diabetic. It also improves the health of your heart. Now, that's great news for anyone who's suffering from heart disease. Also, now this is something that many people may not like, but then some people may like it. It actually helps with weight gain. Now, for those of us who love training with weights and we're trying to make gains, right? Then you may want to add a little bit of wheat germ into some of your dishes, or maybe add it to your protein shakes, providing that the protein comes from a plant and not an animal, right? But ultimately, the wheat germ is going to provide calories that your body needs in order to synthesize more muscle tissue. So, if you're interested in gaining weight, just make sure that the weight that you gain is muscle weight and not fat weight. And lastly, wheat germ, it may help block cancer growth. How amazing is that? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the health benefits of wheat germ. All right, now it's time to talk about food, but specifically plant foods. Now, normally, my go-to website for everything vegan is forksOverKnives.com. However, when I did my research, believe it or not, they didn't have any recipes that showcase wheat germ. So I had to look on, and look at what I found. A brand new website entitled upgrademyfood.com. Now, upon looking at the website, I came across two amazing vegan wheat germ recipes that I would like to share with you right now. The first one is homemade healthy Oreos. Take a look at the picture. Nice, right? And then the second recipe is entitled moist vegan flax wheat germ chocolate cookies. Take a look at that picture. Looks amazing, right? So if you're so inclined, please click on the description box. Why? Because I'm providing you with the direct link to these recipes. Now they're going to give you the instructions as well as the ingredient list. So if you decide to make them, please taste them, come back to the video and let Coach D know exactly how they taste. Right? So there you have it, guys. Please visit upgrademyfood.com. All right, 23% nation, I hear you. A lot of you are saying, well, Coach D, thank you for the recipes. Coach D, thank you for the fun facts and the nutrition facts, right? But what I really want to know is, when should I eat more wheat germ? Well, guys, the perfect day, and I do mean the perfect day, is Nature Day. What? Nature Day? Yes, Nature Day. All right. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, well, what in the world is Nature Day, right? Well, guys, Nature Day happens to be the first day of the 23% challenge. That's right. Now, one quick thing about the 23% challenge. Guys, the challenge is a 7-day wellness program. Actually, it's a monthly 7-day wellness program that helps to improve your health, your wealth, your relationships, and it also helps to save planet Earth. That's right, guys, in only 7 days. As a matter of fact, it's the first 7 days of every single month. Now, being that Nature Day is the first day of the challenge, that simply means that Nature Day is the first day of every single month. So whether it's October 1st, November 1st, or even December 1st, it's always Nature Day. Okay, so maybe I've piqued your interest about Nature Day, right? And maybe you want to know more about it. Well, here we go. The whole purpose of Nature Day is to get closer to nature. That's right, guys. It's time for us to return to nature. Now, yes, there are lots of things that you can do in order to get closer to nature, right? You can go swim in a lake. You can go swim in the ocean. You can even go to a petting zoo and pet the animals, right? But Coach D wants to promote eating more plants, which, by the way, come from nature. So, what is Nature Day all about? It's about eating more plants. Now, perhaps you are of the opinion that you need to eat more plants, or maybe you have some type of health condition that requires you to transition to a more whole food plant-based diet. So, if that's you, then I want to offer you 3 little avenues that I believe can definitely help you out. First up is to try to become a 3% vegan. Now, a 3% vegan is any man, woman, or child who only eats plant foods only one day out of an entire month. Now, you can pick any day in the month that you want, right? But because it's only one day, I highly suggest you make that one day Nature Day, which, if you remember, is the first day of the month. Now, next up is a 13% vegan. Now, a 13% vegan is anyone, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and only drinks water only 4 days out of an entire month. Now, yes, you can figure out which 4 days you want to only eat plant foods, right? And drink only water. But here's what I recommend. I recommend that you make it the first 4 days of the month, right? The first through the fourth, or you can do 1 day per week, providing the month has 4 weeks in it, right? Next up is to try to become a 23% vegan. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that you only eat plant foods and drink only water the first 7 days out of an entire month. Now, here's the thing. This is what I technically consider myself, a 23% vegan, and I only eat plant foods and drink only water. Now, what does that translate to? Well, what it means is that I can eat any food, any plant food that comes from the 5 food groups of plant foods. So what are those? Number 1 are going to be fruits, and I mean all fruits. Number 2 are going to be vegetables and herbs, meaning all vegetables and all herbs. Number 3, we're going to talk about nuts and seeds. Yes, all nuts and all seeds. Number 5, all legumes, meaning all beans and all peas. And number 5 are whole grains, meaning all whole grains. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. For those of us who are interested in participating in Nature Day, it's all about eating more plants. All right. Now, because I want you to have a successful Nature Day, I want to offer you a few tips, right? So here we go. Tip number 1, go to your local grocery store. Now, here's the thing. when you get to the grocery store, you basically are going to go two places. Number one, you're going to go to the produce section. Why? Because that's where all the fresh produce is located, right? Produce meaning plant foods. And then the second place that I want you to visit is the freezer aisle. There, you'll see all the frozen plant foods. Now, here's the thing. Whether it's fresh or frozen, don't fret. For the taste and the nutrient content, they're very, very close. Also, if you find yourself not necessarily eating all of your fresh produce in the required time, well, then you may want to go with the frozen options. Remember, frozen plant foods contain a very competitive amount of nutrients compared to their fresh counterparts, and also they'll last much, much longer. My second tip is to go visit a farmer's market. Now, shopping at a farmer's market is going to be an experience. Why? Because, well, you're going to see a lot of things that you don't see in your local grocery store. Okay? Now, there are some advantages. Number one, less pesticides, less herbicides. Number two, you may notice a price difference. Why? Because number one, the food is grown locally, which means less transportation time, which means that savings is then passed on to you, the end consumer. Next up is to go to the prepared dishes section of your local grocery store. Now, some stores may call it the kitchen. So go ahead, walk on over, check out their selections, or just simply ask the person behind the counter if they offer any type of vegan or vegetarian options. Now, ask them for a taste sample, hopefully you like it, and then purchase the food either by the pound or maybe even 2 pounds. And my last tip is for you to go visit, excuse me, a vegan restaurant. That's right, guys. Go visit a vegan restaurant. It's time for us to support the wellness community and eat some good food all at the same time. Now, here's the thing. You may not be aware that vegan restaurants exist in your area, so just do a quick Google search. Type in vegan restaurants near me, and within less than half of a second, Google will give you the desired results. Now, if you decide to go, do two things. Number one, let them know that Coach D sent you. And number two, do make sure you order something that has wheat germ in it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 4 tips to help make your nature day successful. All right, it's time for our question of the day, which comes from yours truly and the rest of the 23% nation. We have inquiring minds, so we want to know, which wheat germ recipe do you prefer? Was it the first one, the second one, or maybe, just maybe, you know of an amazing vegan wheat germ recipe that you would like to share with us? So, whether you want to take one of mine or share one of yours, please write your response in the comment box below. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. I definitely want to thank you for listening. As always, let's eat well, let's feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. Now, before I sign off, I gotta ask you to please subscribe, like, and share the video, especially if you love wheat germ. Also, don't forget to use our 3-word mantra. It's hashtag eat more plants. As stated earlier, my name is Coach D. I'm signing out, but always remember to take care, God bless, and never ever forget that Coach D loves you.